Welcome to dbt-GA4 Setup, Basic FAC Model. I'm Damon. In this lesson, we're going to set up an unoptimized FAC model for one event, and we're going to review and select a subset of the staging model fields. Let's jump right in. Now let's set up a basic fact table for our purchase event. So here we see I've got the stage GA4 event purchase model. This model is something called a view, and it is like an alias that would generate this model. And what we've done is we've taken all of the parameters and we've flattened them, put them out, and we've done some processing on them to create some keys, and then also added, in this case, a recommended event. So the recommended event parameters are in here by default. I don't have any custom parameters in here, so I haven't pulled any custom parameters out. But now what we need to do is pick what fields we actually want to use and put those into the fact model. The fact model is for end user consumption, so we're going to want to think about what we put in here. So for example, the user properties and event parameters we've split out, so we're not going to want those. And stuff like user pseudo ID isn't unique. So what we do is we create a client key from the user pseudo ID that is unique. So we want to include the client key, but not include the user pseudo ID. And that is so that end users don't make mistakes when they're working with the data by grabbing an ID that isn't unique. So here, go dbt cloud. And let's get, so we shrink that over, give us a little more space here. Now we don't want to be working in the package, we work in the project, models, create folder. Remember, so I want these to apply this analytics schema, so we put it in the marts folder. We could put more subfolders and have that apply, but we don't need that. I'm going to create a file, and this is going to be fact GA4 _ event purchase.sql. And the nice thing about these fact models is they are fairly easy to create. So we can just do select. Now, don't know what we're going to select, but from, this is a dbt ref macro, reference macro from stage GA4 event purchase. And so this we would just select what we want from that stage GA4 event purchase model. We just need to say what fields we want. So event date is one we want for sure. Event timestamp we want for sure. Event name isn't strictly necessary, but it's nice to have in there. It makes everyone feel better. So we don't want event params. Event previous timestamp isn't relevant to web. Event value in USD is useful. Event bundle sequence ID is good for debugging. I don't want to include this because I don't want end users to have to deal with that, but if I need to debug, I can work in the raw data. Same with server timestamp offset. So user ID I have not implemented, so I could say I could not do this, but in case I want to, I will put in user ID. As mentioned before, user pseudo ID. And while we're on IDs, let's go find all of our keys. And so we have client key, session key, session partition key. So the session key is unique to each session. The session partition key is unique within that partition. And that is so when you're querying, so when you query the session daily model, if a session crosses over into the next day, then the session key would appear on both sides, on both partitions, and therefore it would not be unique. So the session partition key, we want both of these, so we have a model that is unique. It only includes all sessions from all time, and then a partitioned model that only does partitioned. So we've got session key. We're going to want the event key because that is what we join to items, which we're also going to do. The page key and page engagement key are done for creating our page models and our engagement time. They're not needed, so those are the keys that we want. Let's get rid of that filter. And so privacy info, I'm not going to put it in there. I'm going to, actually it's pretty useful now because of all the changes, so it helps people understand why data can be weird. So I will put these in. And user, I'm not going to. Device, so device category is nice. Most of these devices are mobile only. They aren't relevant to web. I like device, web, info, browser. You could do language if you want, but I think I'm fine with this. Geodata. Geodata isn't as reliable as it used to be, but people like it, so I'm going to include that. Geo country, geo region, geo city. I'm not going to do subcontinent or metro, and actually I'm not going to do content either. App info is not relevant, so these are set on all events. I'm going to leave it blank so that people use the user table, but you could include these if you wanted, and there's a good argument for it. Although most likely people will want session, and they'll see, oh, well, here's a campaign, I can get that. Stream ID is needed in multi-site. I don't have multi-site plans, but I will put that in. Platform. So items we're going to handle with a separate table. So session ID, we've already got the session key, but session number. Actually, I'm going to leave those for the sessions tables where you can join to the session table. Engagement time I don't recommend. We have the calculations are quite complex. Page title. So here, these event content, event term, and you've got event source, medium, and campaign. These are all UTM parameters. They're event scoped, so if someone lands on the purchase page with the UTM, then these will be set. So as a result, using these in the GA4 interface, these event scoped attribution dimensions causes a lot of problems, so I'm not going to include them in here. So original page location and original page referrer, these are the page location and page referrer from before we remove the query parameters. So we have this query parameter exclusion. These are the originals, so we want those, and we also want page location and page referrer. So we want both original. These are good for very useful for debugging. And then these are the ones we want to use for analysis. I don't care about hostname or query string. And then here at the bottom, we have all of the e-commerce specific, this event specific. So here, these are going to be common to all of my events. And now here, I'm just going to list out the purchase specific ones. And I'll come right back when I've got this set up. There, okay, now I've got all of my parameters in here. Just maximize this. And here you can see the lineage. So we have stage GA4 events, which works off of the base into stage GA4 event purchase into now our fact GA4 event purchase. And if I go, so dbt run select plus fact GA4 event purchase. So putting the plus in front means build everything leading up to this model and its parents. We hit run. So it does the base model first, then stage GA4 events, stage GA4 event purchase, fact GA4 event purchase. And now we go into Google Cloud, BigQuery. We see here in this is where our data marts are in the analytics, fact GA4 event purchase. Now, one thing to notice here is this model is different from all of the other ones. So here what we've done is actually we've created a view model, and whereas these are all either tables or partition tables. So the sessions daily, this is a partition table, and this is a regular table. So what we need first, partition tables are more efficient, but they're also a lot harder to set up. What we're going to do first is set up our config block, and we're just going to make this a regular table. Config, and then actually I realize now, hold on, that should be double curly brace. And we'll just do that for consistency. Hit save. And it's our error. Oh, I believe it's materialized is equal to table. Hit save. All right, now let's do dbt run select fact GA4 event purchase and run that model. Now we go over here, let's go in refresh, and now we can see here the icon has changed. Instead of being a view, we are now in a table. So that's how you set up a basic data mart, a basic fact table for your event for your events. Now, in the next lesson, we're going to partition this model so that it's more efficient to query. I'll see you in the next lesson. To recap, you should now have an unoptimized fact model for one event, and you should have selected a subset of the staging model fields for that model. I'll see you in the next lesson.